Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice, Simple Steps for Showing Up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host, and I'm so grateful to be with you today. At the time of this recording, last night was Election Day, and this morning we woke up. Donald J. Trump has won by a considerable margin. Some may call it a landslide, but that's not quite the point that I'm getting at. And the thing that I want to discuss today, based off an experience that took place this morning. So I will get back to the election and the Oval Office for America. For those people that are listening outside of America, we had Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, and Donald Trump won. But this morning, I had a killer, I'm talking killer leg workout. I did squat day today. That was what I do on Wednesdays. And it was gnarly. 2.5 hours later, I can still barely move. Doing all kinds of movements I haven't done in many years. I think there was one movement I haven't done in probably almost 10 years. So it was super fun to incorporate new things. So often we forget to incorporate new things. We get stuck in this repeating cycle, kind of like Groundhog Day. We just live day after day, same thing every day, same foods, same habits, same rituals. Most of our life is habitual. And because of that, it's repetitive. So I encourage you to throw new things in there. But I get home from my workout and my legs are shaky, my body's shaky, my brain is shaky, and there's quite a bit of chaos happening. My wife, my 2 kids, everybody, including our puppy, had meltdowns. She was telling me there was a 25-minute meltdown between the 2 boys. It was just a chaotic morning before getting ready for school. And I go to make my protein shake. I put protein, greens, and aminos all in the same shake. So there's quite a bit of powder in that shake. And so I filled my cup with water. I put those powders in there, put the lid on, and then my son, my 5-year-old, needed some help. So I proceeded to help him. Well, in my dazed state, I went to shake the cup. And as I shook, it sprayed everywhere. Oh my goodness, I'm covered. My 5-year-old is covered. The countertop, the floor, the cabinet walls, the fridge, everything is covered in my protein shake, but it wasn't mixed up, right? It was just chunks of powder and fluid, and it was such a mess. And my 5-year-old, you have to understand this about my 5-year-old. He hates being dirty. He hates being messy. He does not like things on him. I mean, most of his life, if he got some water on his shirt, it was a meltdown until we changed his shirt out. He's progressed from there, but that same characteristic trait is still in him. It exploded, and it was so much fluid everywhere that you couldn't help but to laugh. Just laugh out of, oh my goodness. That was wild. And my sons stood there for a minute, watching, paying attention to Michaela and I. How would we react? Would we get upset, get mad that Dad, made a massive mess and I covered my son in protein drink? Or are we going to laugh about it? How are we going to respond? And our sons waited for our reaction. We ended up laughing very hard because it was just hysterical. And my sons started laughing. They thought it was funny because we thought it was funny. Take the inverse of that. If we started freaking out because I made a mess and we get upset because we're already heated, my brain's already fried from my leg workout, they would have had a meltdown. But they didn't. They responded with laughter, with joy, with happiness because we did. So much of life is not much about what happens to us, but how we respond to those situations. Look in your life and see what has happened and then how you responded. Your protein drink goes everywhere. Your workout doesn't go according to plan. The puppy is having a meltdown. The kids are having meltdowns. It's a rough morning. It's a rough day. Your boss yelled at you. You failed a project. You missed deadlines. Whatever it is, how are you responding to these experiences? How are you reacting? Do you have a plan in place? Usually you don't. You don't normally have a plan in place for when you forget to screw the lid down on a protein shake. You're more responding or reacting as opposed to going along with the plan. And it's interesting to see how my sons behaved based off of what Michaela and I did. Think about that more in your own world. How much have you responded in negativity, unresourcefulness, and then those around you, whether it be your children, your spouse, your coworkers, your friends, or just people in your general proximity? Did they get on the same wavelength as you? Did they act negatively, change their behavior to an unresourceful state because of you, because of their environment to which you were heavily pouring into at that point in time? Or did you respond with laughter, with joy, with bliss? Yeah, I had a massive mess to clean up. Took a lot of paper towels to wipe up, and then I ended up having to use 2 different mop heads to mop the floor because the first mop head cleaned it up, but it was still really sticky. Second mop head finally tidied it up. And that's another point, actually. Do you just clean it up and call it good, or do you clean it up to where it's actually clean? Do you clean it to where it's visibly clean, or do you clean it to where it's actually clean? Do you pick the things up, pick up the bottles, pick up the things to make sure you cleaned around those crevices? Or do you just wipe around them? When you vacuum or mop, in this case, I had to move the rug. I had to move different things to make sure it was actually clean. So much of life is how you respond to experiences and situations, and so little to do with the actual situations that happen. If you look at it with the lens of life happens for you, not to you, it is so much easier to look on the resourceful, joy, blissful side of things. Because of this situation, we all laughed. We laughed for quite a bit of time, so much so that we kind of ran out of breath. Afterwards, my wife, Michaela, she had mentioned, we really needed that laugh this morning. It was a really rough morning. And because of your stupidity for forgetting to screw down the lid, we were given this boisterous laugh, which really calmed my son's nerves before heading off to school. So you can ask the question, why did I forget? That is not normal for me. In fact, that's probably the first time in my life I've ever had something like that, to that magnitude. I've screwed down the lid and forgot to snap the top down, so a little bit came out, but not completely forget to screw down the lid. That's usually put the lid on and screw it is one fluid motion for me, versus what I did, put the lid on and walk away. You can ask, what's the chicken or the egg? Which one came first? Did the situation of me unscrewing it happen because we needed a laughter? Or did we have a laughter because of the unscrewed cap? Could the laughter in future instances cause me to not screw down the lid so a situation and an experience would occur that we would all have the opportunity to laugh at? If you think about life not in a linear fashion, that makes a little more sense. If you just focus on life being linear, that will make no sense. You can't wrap your brain around it, and it's just a stupid thought to have. However, if you consider that life is not linear, then it might actually make sense. And it will give you these Franklin lens type experiences to where you can shift the focus, shift the lens, and see why things occurred the way they did. So much of life is how you respond to the situations around you. You choose to be upset. You choose to be mad. You also choose to be happy. You choose to laugh at a situation that if you watched it in a movie or comedy show, they would do one of 2 things. They would put a laugh track on it and all the viewers would laugh. It's funny to watch. they would put a serious tone on it, and the people were fighting, and that happens, and they explode into a bigger fight. And you watch, and it's now very unresourceful. It is just the energy you place on it. It's a choice. I've previously said in other podcasts about growing up, my sister used to claw me in the leg. We were very, very young. And my older sister, when she was upset, her nickname was War Child for a reason. And she clawed me in the leg. And one day she made me bleed through my jeans. And my dad, I was really mad. I was really ticked off. And my dad walked up to me and he said, "Why are you so upset? Why are you crying? What happened?" And I said, "She clawed me. She made me bleed through my pants. It hurt. She hurt me." And I will never, ever forget the lesson that I was taught that day. I couldn't tell you how old I was. I was probably sub 5 years old. And my dad looked me straight in the eye. He said, "So you're telling me you are choosing to be mad because your sister clawed your leg?" I said, "No, she made me mad. She did this and did this, or she did this and did that, and therefore she made me to be mad. She caused me to be mad." He said, "No, you are choosing to be mad based off of actions she did. You can choose to not be mad. You can choose to be grateful for a sister that is powerful and fights for what she wants and can be aggressive at times when she feels she needs to be. Or you can be upset that she clawed your leg because she did all those things. It's a choice. You get to choose the outcome of the situation. You do not necessarily get to choose the situation, but you get to choose how you respond and react to the situation. You can choose the outcome. You can choose the consequence on your behalf. And that has never left me. I want you to ponder about this in your life. What direction are you choosing? Are you choosing a response of resourcefulness, or are you choosing a response of unresourcefulness? The choice is ultimately yours. It's a personal choice. And in fact, if you choose unresourcefulness as a response, you need to look inward because there's probably a larger problem with you than the situation that occurred. You can always choose to respond with a smile. If you need to reframe the situation, rechange the lens, then I encourage you to do so. Look at every situation in life as an opportunity to choose resourcefulness or unresourcefulness. It's your actions that create the opportunity therein. But that is what I have for you guys. I'm grateful for you. Share this episode with your friends, your family. Leave me a review on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen to it. Until next week, like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. I love you guys. Bye.